Alright, so before we start, yes, I'm back. Miss me? And these are all the movies. Oh, excuse me. These are all the movies that I've seen this year so far. And these are all the movies that I saw last year. Oop. Alright. So now, let us talk about Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. So Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is directed by Juan Antonio Bayona. Sorry if I messed up your name. And it stars Chris Pratt, Bryce Dallas Howard, and James Cromwell, and Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. If you must know from what you've seen from all the movies that I've seen so far this year, Red Sparrow is currently my worst movie of the year. And yeah, this movie's a close second. This movie, I can't. Anyways, where to begin? I guess we should start off with the acting, because nobody gave a performance in this movie that stood out to me. I mean, Chris Pratt, I guess, was trying. But there is an old saying that says that trying isn't necessarily doing. So, I can't really give him any credit. And it's a shame too, because I love Chris Pratt. But here he just doesn't have that much good material to work with. I'm not even gonna talk about all the other actors. All of them are bad in this movie. Bryce Dallas Howard, James Cromwell, all of them. Especially one of the kids, who's named Franklin. He was literally the worst. Every time that he was on screen, I literally wanted to deck him. But anyways, let me tell you about what this movie gets wrong. Not only does it get screenwriting wrong, not only does it get that wrong, it gets the freaking directing wrong, it gets the visual effects wrong. But by far one of the biggest aspects as to why this movie did not work, which leads me to my fourth problem, is that the action and the suspense were horrible. Literally every single action scene in this movie felt very underwhelming, and the way that they try to use suspense, it was so poor. And part of the reason why the action was great in the first Jurassic Park movie was because they actually attempted to try to bring suspense to it. They built up good tension so that when the action starts rolling, you start to become terrified as to what's going to come up next. That's what the original Jurassic Park did so well. Hell, even Jurassic World, the first one, did a much better job at that than this. And another reason why it didn't work in this one is because this movie just tries so hard to be so dark that it just felt completely forced. Now, granted, Deadpool 2 did have kind of that same problem in terms of ambition, but I can forgive Deadpool 2 a little bit more because it was sort of more of a change of pace for a character like Deadpool. And while the dark tone in that movie didn't exactly work at times, I still appreciated the fact that they wanted to go in a different direction. This one literally thinks that because it's a sequel, it tries to be bigger and darker, and it just doesn't work for the movie at all. And Fiat 2, this is a blockbuster film, and while you could argue that they're not really meant to be went into with high expectations, which I know they shouldn't, but if there's one thing that I want them to do is to be entertaining. This movie was not entertaining at all. Literally, this movie literally felt like one of the biggest snore fests of a blockbuster I've ever seen. Because every single moment in this movie just feels so incredibly dull and so incredibly boring that you're just sitting there bored out of your minds waiting for something intriguing to happen, and it never, ever happens. And literally that's the biggest problem with the film, is that it is dull. In terms of visuals, in terms of acting, in terms of the script, in terms of the directing, everything is so piss poorly done, and it's so dull and so bland and so incomprehensible that you literally don't care at all about what's going on in front of you. So yeah, overall, Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is one of the worst movies of the year, by far. It's got terrible acting, weak directing, a bland script filled with really annoying, cringeworthy humor, by the way. And it was filled with characters that I didn't give a crap about. The visual effects looked very standard and stale. The ways of using suspense was poor. All the dark moments felt incredibly forced, as well as some of the fan service from the previous films. I forgot to mention that the fan service was incredibly forced, and it just felt way too much like they were trying to pander to fans of the original. And the ending literally is the most obvious setup for a sequel that I've ever seen in my life. So yeah, this movie is a complete utter dud from start to finish. I don't even know what else to say about it. It gets an F. And I'd even go as far as to say it was worse than Solo in terms of pandering to the audience. I mean, Solo was bad. It was a terrible movie. But it has been a while since I talked about a real stinker. And this was the biggest pile of dinosaur manure in a while. So yeah, 0 out of 10, F. I don't even know what to say anymore. So yeah, really not a good way for me to return to YouTube. But yeah, summer is here. I finally get to have some free time to talk about videos again in peace. So stay tuned for more reviews to come in the future. But yeah, I'll see you guys later. Bye.